So, you're just gonna sit here and drown your sorrows? You think your wife is falling for some other guy and you're just sitting around doing nothing? What in the world, Mark? Mandy demanded, sliding into the booth across from her brother. Mark looked up from his drink with tired eyes. What do you want me to do, sis? Do you think I should attack the jerk and smash his face in? Will that make Ginny come running to my side? No, I don't want you to end up in jail, but you gotta fight for her. Mandy leaned forward, her face flushed with indignation. Why? Why do I have to fight for her? Mark countered. She's my wife. I chose her as the one and she accepted my proposal. I thought I beat out all the competition 5 years ago. Mandy rolled her eyes. Men, you can't be that clueless. You have to fight for her love. You have to prove to her that you're the one she needs to be with. Mark shook his head firmly. No, I don't. I did that when we were dating. I proved to her I was the best choice. She agreed to stop dating other guys. We got engaged and spent a year learning if we were truly compatible with each other. Then she stood up in front of God and everyone we knew and vowed to be faithful to me forever. Now you're telling me that meant nothing. You can't be that naive, Mandy scoffed. Yes, she married you, but you still need to fight off all the guys looking to take her away from you. Why? Why do I need to do that? Mark's voice rose slightly. Isn't that her job? Shouldn't she be fighting off the guys that come sniffing around? Oh my God, bro, you can't be serious. Mandy threw her hands up. Ginny is a beautiful woman. Guys are going to be after her all the time. You have to protect what is yours. She's not a prize pig or a fancy piece of jewelry. She's my wife, Mark replied evenly. She has free will to do anything she wants. Of course, she usually gives my opinion some consideration, just as I do for her when making a decision, but ultimately, it's her decision to make. Yeah, sure, free will and all that good stuff, but she's still your wife and you can't let her do stupid stuff with other men, Mandy insisted. Mark sighed deeply. So what should I do? I can't lock her up. She's a CPA with a great job, so she's out in the world every day. I can't watch her 24/7. I have a job and responsibilities. She's my wife. I'm supposed to be able to trust her. But Marky, a woman likes to see her man make an effort to protect her against all the hound dogs out there, Mandy said. Sis, are you forgetting about what happened to Jason Hadley? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Mandy nodded vigorously. You beat that jerk senseless right there at the community 4th of July party. It took 3 guys to pull you off that creep. Everyone knew you were protecting Ginny, fighting for your woman. Exactly, I was protecting her because he was groping her and she was trying to fight him off, Mark explained. He grabbed her when I left to go buy us another beer, but she was tougher than he thought she'd be, and I got back sooner than he expected. When I pulled him off of her, I was in a rage and nearly put the stupid guy in the hospital. Exactly! That's what I'm saying, Mandy exclaimed. You fought for her then, and you need to fight for her now. It's not the same, Mark said quietly. I would gladly risk my life to save her, if she wanted to be saved. She's been flirting and going to lunch with Tom ever since he joined her division 8 months ago. He's not forcing her to do anything. She doesn't need or want to be protected from him. She's doing exactly what she wants to do. And you're just sitting here letting her get away with it. Mandy pounded her fist on the table. Mark ran a hand through his hair. I've tried. I kind of felt something was wrong 6 months ago. I tried talking to her, asking what was going on. I tried to put more effort into showing her how much I love her. I gave her flowers, took her out dancing, and bought her a nice necklace. I tried extra hard to please her in bed and paid extra attention to her when we were just hanging out. I complimented her constantly and sent sentimental cards to her office. He took another sip of his drink. I tried talking to her to ask her what was going on, and she denied there was any kind of problem. She said I was just being foolish and worrying about nothing. She kinda returned to her old self after that, but it only lasted a couple of weeks. His expression darkened. Then you saw her having lunch with him at Victoria's, and you knew something was not right. You saw what I felt. Something was developing between them. Those two had become more than just friendly colleagues. Last week, I showed her the video you took and asked her to be honest with me about him. She admitted she is attracted to him, but swore she hasn't done anything inappropriate with him. I replayed the video and told her everything on it was inappropriate. We fought, and I told her she needed to choose him or me. Mark stared into his glass. I told her she owed me an honest answer and gave her until tonight to decide what she wanted to do. I didn't want to just sit around the house, so I came here. I was enjoying my second gin and tonic when my little sister pounced on me. Mandy's face softened. I'm sorry. I guess I kind of feel responsible because I sent you that video. Have you heard from Ginny? Firstly, you are not responsible, she is, Mark stated firmly. Secondly, yes, she called me. She's at home waiting for me right now. I was just trying to sort things out in my mind before I faced her. Your outburst actually helped me do that. Thanks for caring, sis. When Mark arrived home, Ginny was waiting in the kitchen. Hi, I made us a pot of coffee. Would you like some? She asked, her voice unnaturally bright. Sure, Mark replied. Sorry I'm a little late. I ran into Mandy and she talked my ear off. Yes. Well, your sister does like to talk, Ginny said with a forced chuckle. Mark took a deep breath and let it out slowly. Ginny, I think I deserve full honesty from you. I promise to listen to everything you have to say, but I need to know what is going on. Ginny looked up with tears on her cheeks. Mark, honey, I don't want to hurt you, but I'm still very confused. I have feelings for Tom, but I'm not ready to give up on us. I still love you, but I'm drawn to Tom. I swear I haven't done anything except kiss him on the cheek, but I'm tempted to do more. I'm sorry. I know that's awful, but you asked me to be honest with you. Mark looked at his wife of 5 years. Mandy came to me all fired up, demanding I fight to get you back. Well, I'll tell you the same thing I told her. I shouldn't have to fight for you. If you still loved me the way I love you, the way I thought you loved me for the past 5 years, there'd be no need for me to fight for you. If you loved me completely, you would never have been tempted by Tom, and you would have rejected him the way you rejected Jason Hadley. A flash of revulsion raced across Ginny's face at the mention of Jason Hadley. Then it slowly turned to shame as her face flushed red. But Mark, I do still love you. I don't want to lose you. I'm just confused by my feelings for Tom. Please, Mark, just give me a little more time to sort things out. I want to explore those feelings, but please don't give up on us, she pleaded. Mark stood, slipped off his wedding ring, and dropped it on the table. No, Ginny, don't you see? You're the one that gave up on us, not me. The divorce proceedings began the next day. Mark moved into a hotel and took a leave of absence from his job as a senior IT security specialist at Acme Tech. While Ginny frantically called and texted, begging for another chance, Mark remained silent, his mind focused on something else entirely. After the third day, he answered one of her calls. Mark, please talk to me, Ginny sobbed. I made a mistake. I told Tom it was over. Did you? Mark's voice was eerily calm. That's interesting because I have access to your work email. You had lunch with him today at Costello's. Table for 2, very cozy. There was a long pause. How did you... I'm in IT security, Ginny. Did you forget what I do for a living? Mark's laugh was hollow. Don't worry about it. Explore your feelings all you want. I'm exploring some feelings of my own. He hung up, leaving her stunned and confused. Mark stared at his laptop screen, where he had already installed remote monitoring software on both Ginny's work and personal devices. As an IT security expert, he knew all the back doors, all the vulnerabilities. He'd been the one who set up their home network, configured her devices, and managed their digital lives. She'd never changed a single password. If you want to play games, Ginny, he whispered to the empty hotel room. Let's play. Over the next week, Mark gathered information methodically. He documented every exchange between Ginny and Tom, every lunch date, every private meeting in conference rooms. He accessed Tom's personnel file from the HR database and discovered a pattern. Tom had moved between 4 companies in 5 years, leaving a trail of workplace romances and sudden departures. Mark also discovered that despite Ginny's claims that she had ended things with Tom, their relationship had escalated. The emails and texts became increasingly intimate, and hotel receipts showed they had met at the Westwood Inn twice that week. When Mandy came to visit him at the hotel, she was shocked by the transformation in her brother. Gone was the heartbroken man drowning his sorrows. In his place sat someone focused, calculating, and cold. "What are you going to do?" Mandy asked, eyeing the multiple screens set up in his room. Mark smiled. "I'm going to make sure they both get exactly what they deserve." "Mark, I know I told you to fight for her, but this—" Mandy gestured at the monitors displaying Ginny's email inbox, her calendar, and a GPS tracker showing her current location. "This is scary." "Is it?" Mark looked genuinely surprised. "I thought you'd be proud. I'm finally doing something." "This isn't what I meant." Mandy's voice was quiet. "I'm worried about you." "Don't be," Mark assured her. "I know exactly what I'm doing." 3 weeks into his surveillance, Mark had everything he needed. He'd compiled a dossier on Tom's history of workplace seductions across multiple companies. He'd documented every lie Ginny had told him during their marriage and since their separation. He'd even recorded their intimate encounters at the hotel by hacking into Tom's laptop camera and microphone. It was time to move. Mark's plan was elegant in its simplicity: maximum damage with minimum risk to himself. First, he transferred $150,000 from their joint savings account to an offshore account he'd established. It was technically half his money, but the timing would make Ginny look like the one who had emptied the account. He then used Ginny's credentials to access her 401k and requested a hardship withdrawal, directing the funds to a different account he controlled. Next, he composed an email from Ginny's work account to the entire company, including the CEO and board of directors. The email contained screenshots of her intimate conversations with Tom and a confession of their affair, along with an admission that she had embezzled company funds to finance their rendezvous. He scheduled it to be sent automatically in 3 days. Using Tom's email account, he sent a similar message to HR, but with an added twist: accusations that Ginny had been pressuring him into the relationship and threatening his job if he didn't comply. This email was scheduled to send an hour after Ginny's. Mark then contacted their mutual friends, in-laws, and neighbors, using spoofed email addresses that appeared to come from Ginny. Each message contained different private confessions about her affair, her unhappiness in the marriage, and fabricated stories about Mark's supposed failings as a husband. Some emails suggested Mark had been abusive, others that he was impotent, and still others that he had his own affairs. Finally, he used Ginny's identity to apply for a dozen high-interest credit cards and max them out on non-refundable travel packages, expensive electronics delivered to abandoned addresses, and donations to controversial political organizations that contradicted her public values. The night before his plan was set to unfold, Mark received an unexpected visitor. Carl Jennings, his boss at Acme Tech, knocked on his hotel room door. "You need to stop this, Mark," Carl said without preamble. Mark's face betrayed nothing. "Stop what?" Carl sighed heavily. "The company monitors unusual access patterns. Did you think IT security wouldn't notice you accessing HR files and email servers you have no business being in?" "I don't know what you're talking about," Mark replied coolly. "Yes, you do." Carl stepped into the room uninvited. "I convinced them it was just you working on a security audit from remote. But I know what you're doing. I'm not here as your boss. I'm here as someone who cares about you. This revenge scheme will destroy Ginny and Tom, yes, but it will destroy you too." Mark's face hardened. "She deserves everything that's coming to her." "Maybe she does," Carl acknowledged. "But do you deserve what this will turn you into?" I'll be fine, Mark said dismissively. Carl shook his head sadly. No, you won't. Trust me, I know. 10 years ago, my wife left me for my business partner. I had the means to ruin them both, and I did. I exposed their affair to everyone we knew, destroyed his reputation in the industry, and made sure she lost custody of our kids. Carl's voice grew quieter. Want to know what it got me? Years of therapy for my children, who hated me for what I did to their mother. A reputation as someone unstable and vindictive, and a hole inside me that nothing could fill. This is different, Mark insisted. It's never different, Carl replied. Revenge always costs more than you think you're willing to pay. After Carl left, Mark sat staring at his laptop for a long time. His finger hovered over the key that would cancel all his scheduled actions. Then he remembered Ginny's words. I want to explore those feelings, but please don't give up on us. He closed the laptop without pressing anything. The plan would proceed. The destruction was swift and complete. At 9:03 a.m., Ginny discovered that their joint savings account had been drained. At 9:17 a.m., her 401k provider called to confirm her withdrawal request. By 10:30 a.m., she was in her boss's office trying to explain why she couldn't access her email when the first credit card company called about suspicious charges. At 11 a.m., her email to the entire company went out. By 11:15, she was escorted from the building by security. At noon, Tom was called into HR to respond to his own email that had just been sent, accusing Ginny of sexual coercion. By 2 p.m., Ginny's phone was exploding with messages from friends and family responding to the various confessions she had supposedly sent them. Her parents called to ask if she really thought they were controlling monsters who had trapped her in a loveless marriage with their expectations. Her best friend demanded to know why Ginny had told another friend that she was a pathetic, jealous woman who couldn't keep a man. By 5 p.m., Ginny sat alone in her car in the company parking lot, having been fired for ethical violations and potential embezzlement. Her phone continued to buzz with notifications from credit card companies, angry messages from friends, and a particularly devastating text from her sister asking how she could have written such horrible things about her weight struggles to their entire extended family. Tom had already blocked her number after she tried to call him about the HR meeting. He had his own problems to deal with, as Mark had also sent an anonymous package to his wife, containing evidence of not just his affair with Ginny, but 3 previous workplace relationships. Through it all, Mark watched from afar, using the spyware on Ginny's devices to monitor her desperate attempts to understand what was happening. He saw her panicked emails to the bank, her pleading texts to Tom that went unanswered, and her increasingly frantic calls to friends who refused to pick up. That evening, Mandy called him. "What did you do?" she demanded. "Ginny just showed up at my apartment sobbing. She's lost her job. All her money is gone, and everyone she knows is getting horrible emails supposedly from her." "I have no idea what you're talking about," Mark replied calmly. "Don't lie to me," Mandy hissed. "This has your fingerprints all over it. It's too perfect, too coordinated." "Sounds like karma to me," Mark said. "Is she still exploring her feelings for Tom?" "She says he won't even talk to her now," Mandy replied. "Mark, this is cruel. Even for what she did, this is too much." "Is it?" Mark asked. She was willing to throw away 5 years of marriage to explore her feelings. Actions have consequences, sis. "She's talking about moving back to her parents' house in Ohio," Mandy said. "She's completely broken." "Good," Mark said, surprised by the cold satisfaction he felt. "Tell her I hope it was worth it." After hanging up, Mark poured himself a whiskey and opened his laptop one last time. He had one final piece of revenge planned, an anonymous tip to the IRS about potential tax fraud, with carefully planted evidence on Ginny's laptop that would trigger an audit. His finger hovered over the send button. Then he saw it. A new email from Ginny to herself. like a digital diary entry. I don't understand what's happening. Everything is falling apart and I don't know why. I've lost my job, my friends think I've gone crazy, and even Tom won't speak to me anymore. Mark must be behind this somehow, but I never thought he could be so vicious. I deserve some of it for what I did to him, but not this complete destruction. I just wanted to understand my feelings for Tom. I never meant to hurt Mark this deeply. I still love him. I've always loved him. I was just confused and flattered by Tom's attention. Now I've lost everything that matters, and I don't know how to fix any of it. Mark stared at the screen for a long time. Then he closed the laptop without sending the IRS tip. He'd done enough. Ginny had lost her job, her reputation, her lover, and soon she would be leaving town altogether. The damage was complete. He felt a strange emptiness where he expected satisfaction to be. 6 months later, Mark sat across from his lawyer as they finalized the divorce. "You got everything you wanted," his lawyer noted. She didn't contest anything, not even the financial improprieties that mysteriously appeared in her records. Mark nodded. "Is it done?" "Just need your signature here," the lawyer said, sliding the papers across the desk. "She's already signed her copy." As Mark signed, he asked, "Have you heard where she ended up?" The lawyer shrugged. "Last I heard, she moved back to her hometown. Working retail, I think. Quite a step down from corporate accounting." Mark nodded again, feeling that same hollow sensation he'd grown accustomed to. The revenge had been perfect. She had lost everything while he maintained plausible deniability. No one could prove he was behind it all. He kept his job, his reputation, and even gained sympathy as the wronged husband. Yet somehow, victory tasted like ashes. As he left the lawyer's office, he received a text from Carl. "Congratulations on finalizing the divorce. Dinner tonight? We should talk about your future at the company." Mark stared at the message. His future. He had been so focused on destroying Ginny's life that he'd given little thought to what came after. The revenge had consumed him for months, and now that it was complete, he felt empty. He typed back, "Sure. 7 p.m.? As he walked to his car, he spotted a familiar figure across the street, Mandy, waiting for him. He braced himself for another lecture about how he'd gone too far. "It's over," he said as she approached. "The divorce is final." Mandy studied his face. Was it worth it? Mark considered the question. He had orchestrated the perfect revenge. Ginny had lost everything: her job, her lover, her friends, her reputation, her financial security. She was now working a minimum wage job in a small town, living with her parents at 35. She had paid the ultimate price for her betrayal. "I don't know," he admitted. "I thought I'd feel different." "What do you feel?" Mandy asked softly. Mark struggled to find the words. "Nothing. I don't feel anything at all." Mandy nodded as if she'd expected this answer. "That's the thing about revenge, little brother. It doesn't give you back what you lost." Mark looked at his sister, suddenly realizing the truth in her words. His elaborate revenge had punished Ginny severely, but it hadn't healed his own pain. It hadn't restored his trust or his capacity for joy. It hadn't filled the void left by the end of his marriage. "So what now?" he asked. "Now you start over," Mandy said, linking her arm through his. "You built a new life once before, when you met Ginny. You can do it again." As they walked away from the lawyer's office, Mark wondered if he had truly won after all. Ginny had lost everything, yes, but in his single-minded pursuit of revenge, he had lost something too. Not his job or his reputation, but perhaps something more important. The part of himself that could feel something other than cold satisfaction at another's downfall. Still, as he remembered Ginny's betrayal and her casual dismissal of their marriage vows, he couldn't bring himself to regret what he'd done. She had made her choice, and he had ensured she faced the consequences of that choice. If there was a price to be paid for his revenge, he would pay it. Some debts, after all, were worth the cost. And so, we've reached the end of today's story. Was it what you expected, or did it take a twist you didn't see coming? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comments below, and let's get a conversation going. If this story kept you hooked, make sure to hit that like button. And if you're new here or just haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time to join our community. I bring you fresh, captivating stories every day, so click that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.